What's up, guys? Welcome to another edition of the Game Inspector Top 10. Today we're doing Super Nintendo. Wow, I have some great memories playing Super Nintendo games. I didn't have one growing up, unfortunately, but my uncle, he had one from when we came over for Thanksgiving, Christmas, and just other get-togethers. Aunt Mary had some awesome lasagna, by the way, good times. Yeah, and then also my Aunt Chojo did 4th of July parties, and I think it was her son or something had a Super Nintendo in the basement. Me and one of my cousins would get together, play that, mostly like Ninja Turtles and stuff. So yeah, I was Sega Genesis, and I still kind of prefer Sega Genesis over Super Nintendo, but Super Nintendo's got some awesome games, and these are my top 10 personal favorites. Let's get it. Coming up first at number 10, Vegas Stakes. Now this one didn't make the original top 10, but you know, it's so nostalgic for me. I used to play this in my uncle's house. This is basically a casino game where you go to Vegas, get to play various games such as blackjack, you get to use the slot machines, I believe there's also poker. But yeah, it's a pretty cool game, and it goes beyond that as well. You actually, if you play the story mode, you actually have characters. Oh look, roulette. And then, yeah, you have the characters come up to you, they can rob you, they could help you win, they could, you know, and there's various different characters that come up, so it's pretty interesting. So, and there's various casinos you could go to as well, and this is actually the sequel to Vegas Dream for the NES, which I didn't know growing up. I used to play this at my uncle's house. Good game. Coming up next at number 9, Super Street Fighter 2, the new challengers. Here we go. We got Ryu, or Ryu, whatever you want to call him, doing the famous Hadouken. This is one of my favorite out of the many Street Fighter 2 iterations. My favorite's always going to be the HD remix, which I used to play on my Xbox 360. And here we go. We got the classic battle between Ryu and Ken. It's Street Fighter, you know. I had to include some fighting games for those of you who know me. I love fighting games, but I won't make this one too many fighting games. There'll just be a couple. But yeah, Super Street Fighter 2 for the Super Nintendo. I do like this one slightly better than the one for the Sega Genesis. Now in number 8, Final Fight 3, one of my favorite beat-em-ups for the Super Nintendo. Now, if you're wondering why I picked this one, say, over the first or second, pretty much because this character, Dean, I think he's really cool. He kind of reminds me of Zan from Streets of Rage. And of course, for those of you who know my channel, you know, Streets of Rage is one of my favorite beat-em-ups of all time. And honestly, I don't feel like Final Fight couldn't even light a candle to Streets of Rage, but this is an awesome beat-em-up game, and it's made by Capcom, the people that made Street Fighter and a bunch of other games like Mega Man and so many more. And I mean, with the Final Fight series, some of the characters even got to appear in Street Fighter games as well. It's unfortunate we didn't see Dean in Street Fighter. That would have been really cool, or any of the other characters. I think it was pretty much just... And at number 7, we have Super Metroid. I didn't grow up playing this one. Some of the other games, like Final Fight and stuff, I didn't really grow up playing. But, you know, I did find this through means of emulation back in the early 2000s. And, you know, this game's really cool. One day I really want to give it a shot and really play through the entire thing. I've only played it here and there. I've also played the first Metroid. I played Metroid Fusion, which is pretty awesome. But this is one of the best Metroid games there is. And if you didn't know, there's a female protagonist, Samus. She's awesome, and she made her way to Super Smash Brothers, and of course she did that for a reason. Her games are pretty badass. So, upon playing this too, you know, it was another game that was pretty hard to put down and stop. Number 6, Secret of Mana. This is made by Squaresoft, the people who made Final Fantasy. This is an awesome action RPG. It's not turn-based like the early Final Fantasy games, but this is another game I played through emulation in the early 2000s. And I kind of wanted to get into Final Fantasy, but wasn't really ready for it yet, and this kind of, you know, helps me sort of get ready for it. But yeah, I may do a top 10 Final Fantasy game one day. I do have to play a bunch of them. Right now, one of my current favorites is the Game Boy Advance iterations of 1 and 2. So yeah, Secret of Mana, pretty awesome action RPG for the Super Nintendo. The soundtrack's awesome as well. You get boss battles and stuff, you get to level up, all that good stuff. Number 5, we're now in the top 5, The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. Now, yet again, this is another game I didn't grow up playing, but I heard so many good things about it, and I've kind of picked it up and played it here and there. I never really got to play through it. Actually, for this playthrough for the top 10 was actually probably the longest I've actually played it. Any of these games, if you want me to stream in the future, I would love to play them on stream. It'd be a great way for me to finally complete some of these games. That is one thing that gets me to, you know, replay a lot of these classics. But yeah, it's Zelda. I mean, you can't go wrong with Zelda. Obviously, at least in my opinion, top 2 Zelda games besides this one is obviously Ocarina of Time and Breath of the Wild. Maybe one day I'll do a top 10 Zelda games. Comment down below if that's something you'd want me to do. Next up at number 4, we have Super Punch-Out! Now, I grew up playing Punch-Out for the NES, and I can't really remember when I played this, but I did play it as a kid. I believe maybe Funkoland? My uncle didn't have this one, which was kind of weird because he's into boxing. Maybe he just didn't know how good this game was. But it's an awesome boxing game. I mean, you know, like I said, the original Punch-Out and me being into Rocky, at one point I kind of wanted to get into boxing, but ended up taking Taekwondo instead, and then as I got older I kind of wanted to get into wrestling, but that didn't really happen. If it did, my life would be way different. Anyway, so Super Punch-Out, it's an awesome game for the Super Nintendo. Definitely check it out. Number 3, Super Castlevania 4. Now, I'm not really sure if this is my favorite Castlevania game of all time. It's pretty hard to decide between this and the one from PlayStation. They're really good games. I do love the control in this game, how you can whip all the way around and everything, and just the control, like AVGN says, you know, this is his favorite. But is it my favorite Castlevania game of all time? I don't know. I'm gonna have to do a top 10 Castlevania list at some point. I do have to play through more of them because I do want to at least play through all the 2D versions before I make a top 10. But yeah, Castlevania 4, Super Castlevania 4, it's an awesome game. Definitely check this one out. And at number 2, we have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4, Turtles in Time. I previously reviewed this game, and it's awesome. This is my favorite beat 'em up on the Super Nintendo. It's so close to the arcade version. Some people probably consider it to be better than the arcade version. So anyway, you played some Ninja Turtles. Anyone that grew up in the 90s, you know, you remember this show, the animated series, the movies, the original 3. And I mean, it's such a great beat 'em up game. And it's 2 players as well. You get all 4 Ninja Turtles. It's really awesome. Without further ado, we got some honorable mentions. And finally at number 1, Super Mario World. Now it was pretty hard choosing between this and Mario All-Stars, but I do like this one slightly better. I mean, this was a new Super Mario game, it wasn't remakes of the old ones. Although I love All-Stars, as you saw was in the honorable mentions, this one's a classic. So anyway, this was a bigger and better Mario game, especially at the time, and I mean, there were just so many more levels, different story. Of course, Princess Peach gets caught by Bowser again. I think at the time he was still called King Koopa, or whatever. Either way, you know who he is. And I mean, just the different levels in this game, the different worlds, you know, the extra stuff you could do for 100% completion, the secrets. There's just so much to this game, and it's also 2 players. Awesome game, it's a classic. If you haven't played it somehow, definitely check it out. Alright guys, so this was my top 10 personal Super Nintendo games. Now I know there's a lot of games that people are putting on all their top 10s, and I'm going to hear it in the comments below, which is fine. Oh, you missed this game, you missed that game, why didn't this game get ranked higher? Well, I discussed that, you know, in the video. Anyway, so like I said, these are my personal top 10 games that either I grew up with or just the ones I really enjoy playing. The other video, you know, the Sega Genesis one did so well with the comments and whatnot that it just kind of pushed me to do another one. I'm still on the job hunt, unfortunately, going to interviews almost every week. Actually, got one coming up this week, got one coming up next week, had one already in the beginning of this week. I mean, Indeed and ZipRecruiter are good, it's just, you know, that's a tangent for another video. Anyway, so definitely let me know if you guys like these, like, comment, subscribe, and share and all that. Comment down below, as always, your favorites and, you know, how maybe you would have rearranged the order. Again, this is my personal top 10. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. Definitely share this video with your friends, and check out the other top 10s. I did NES and Sega Genesis, more coming. So thank you guys for watching. Appreciate you guys. Peace.
This is the outro of my video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Please support me on Ko-Fi.com. Sensor Entertainment. Follow me on Twitch, Twitch TV, Sensor French 16. Follow me on TikTok, Ko-Fi, Sensor Entertainment. Follow me on Twitch, Sensor French 16. Follow me on TikTok. Follow me on TikTok. Peace.